Jimmy, you see, looking at our charters here, we're just not really meeting the quota, and I know sometimes...
Look, I think we need to make better stories, sir, because now...
I know!
Yeah.
I know we need to make good stories sometimes, but we just can't. We can't because we need to pull out the sauce.
The sauce, sir? The sauce? Tomato ketchup.
You know what sauce I'm talking about, Jimmy.
The sauce.
It's the kind of sauce that just, gets all the traffic these days, Jimmy. Do I need to show you the formula? You know the formula, Jimmy.
I know the formula.
You know the formula. Don't make me turn
the
my
formula,
head.
Okay, I know.
Turning my...
Don't turn the head.
You know what happens when that happens?
God.
Shit gets serious.
But that's...
We turn our heads and we get into the thinking mode of what could make a brilliant story.
That's what I've been doing here. I've been actually talking about maybe how the rumors aren't true and things like that, and I think people will be really receptive.
Let's run this one through. What would get us clicks this time? And people to subscribe to our affiliate YouTube channels and just our buddies over there.
How about we make an article debunking the rumors, or the evidence perhaps that, we can put into it to actually make all of those claims seem ridiculous and nothing but transparent, bullshit.
Look, Jimmy, do I really need to spell it out for you, Jimmy? What gets us the most clicks? What gets us the most excitement, the most engagement, Jimmy?
Well, sir, since you're not gonna really take any other suggestion under advisement, there are the big YouTube channels that are coming out with this this information that we could recycle in reports maybe, and just help further the rumor and stuff maybe, just things like that, saying things that aren't quite true about the Batman and making a whole story out of it to make the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of fans get concerned about the film and believe most likely false rumors about things that hold no merit behind it, no evidence, and just basically bullshit.
God. My God, you're a freaking genius!
Does this mean I get a promotion?
Those suckers are gonna believe this unlike anything before. I can feel the revenue coming in right now. The revenue, Jimmy. The revenue! Post it! Post it! Post it!
Ladies, gentlemen, Bat family, welcome to a brand new The Batman video. Now, this is kind of a part 2 to the video I did on May 25th, I guess that you're seeing in the thumbnail on screen now, where in that video, in the wake, and this is funny for me to say, in the wake of Robert Pattinson signing a first look production deal, I went into that video talking about the rumors questioning if there's even going to be a trilogy anymore, the ridiculous one of Zoe and Robert Pattinson on the Batmobile, which is a self-explanatory one to dismiss, but then, more into the believable, I guess you could say, stuff that people were asking me about, like tensions on set between Reeves and Pattinson. Typically, after I made that video, I started to get even more questions coming through because new, bigger rumors, if you will, came out, and I wanted to talk in this video about that because I keep getting questions, understandably so, and this is what really frustrates me about it. Not you guys, the situation, and we're going to get into the nature of why that happens, what actually happens when it happens, and why I don't believe it. So, just as I was hoping, as these rumors were really entering the meme territory now, but no, more and more things are coming out, and these most recent ones, if you aren't in the loop, supposedly Warner Brothers hates the movie, hates it. Apparently they want reshoots, and they may even delay it again, and the first delay is obviously being because of the pandemic, but now apparently because they hate it, it's going to be delayed even more. There's been more clashes between Pattinson and Reeves on set, they despise each other, I guess we're kind of revisiting that one, and the Batman is apparently said to be amazing, but Warner Brothers doesn't see it that way, and are unhappy with the finished product. But what finished product? It would not... it's still very much on the cutting room floor. Like, what? And then to top it off, like, it gets more and more funny for me, and I can't wait to get into the reasons why I think this is ludicrous. Supposedly, we have some more rumors about Warner Brothers are concerned about the Batman, not just for being dark, which is obviously inherent in that kind of character, and but Bruce has mental health issues, and they're not liking that. But when didn't Bruce Wayne, the Batman, have mental health issues? I swear to God. I guess let's just start at the beginning. I'm going to try and recap how these things start, how it gets out of hand, and why you shouldn't necessarily believe it, especially with, I guess, what I'm about to say. So these rumors stem from several different avenues. Avenues that are, I guess, known to sometimes, and it's very few and far between, get things right. So these are places like 4chan, Reddit, and other YouTubers, much bigger ones sometimes, and these are multiple channels, by the way. I'm not singling any particular person out, and I don't even want to say names because I can't be arsed with it. I really can't. You guys know, if you know about the certain content creators who may dish certain things out, you know, there's a bunch of them. There's probably lots of channels, and this is the case as well, who are like 300-400 subscribers, and they, you know, at the end of the day, you can see, and I'm pretty sure there's a thing in our brain that's been scientifically proven, I don't know if I'm right about this, but we are more receptive to negative news more than positive news, and then, you know, that does kind of get the clicks going and stuff like that, if you know what I mean. Same with articles and whatnot. So along the track of what I was treading, these stem from Reddit, 4chan, articles are written because of that. Big YouTubers also entertain it, react to it, and that is quite disastrous in my opinion, especially if these said people have their own sources, so to speak, because that makes the conviction of their words that are being spoken to the audience so much more compelling. And even though some don't take and do take it with a grain of salt, even though another thing that disturbs me, quite often that's not even said. Hey, rumor, take it with a grain of salt. But like, the audience, if they don't hear that, let alone even if they did hear that, they're subscribed to someone or seeing articles. And articles, I think a lot of people who aren't as into this as we are sometimes, they see an article, a headline from a website, they don't know the reputation of the website, they don't know this, that, they just see a headline and it looks very believable. You get where I'm going. You can apply all of this to everything. But the reason why I don't like content creators necessarily, especially ones with absolutely huge whopping audiences going ham with this stuff, is because think about it, they have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers. That, guys, I shouldn't have to explain to you, over 1 million people. Imagine them all in one room. I'm a tiny channel in terms of like the grand scheme of things on YouTube. I'm a speck of sand, but I still think, wow, 80,000 people in a room, that is a lot of people, individual human beings. We're not all the same. As much as there are commonalities and whatever, some people will believe rumors more than others. So when you put out a message like that and articulate saying, oh, I just heard this with the Batman and all this, what I'm hearing, and there's no preface that this could be complete BS. I get sources. Let me preface this. I get you can have a source. Sometimes you have to take their word for it if you're a reporter or whatever, if you're trying to scoop something in an article or a YouTube channel. But let me say this as well. They're not always true. And that is also very case in point with certain people's track records, websites' track records. I'm speaking across the board here. This is what I mean. I can't single a single person out because there's so many people inflaming the situation of this movie, The Batman. And that's why I think, you know, I get the comments saying, Boba, I wanted to dismiss it, but I keep seeing more and more and more things. So you see how that's disastrous and why I have such disdain for certain channels and websites who just stir the pot. They really do. And like, where's your integrity? It's just so cheap. I can't stand it. Ultimately, I just feel like it's such a shame to see because the more interest grows in news surrounding a film that people not only want to hear about because it's the new The Batman movie. So not only does that annoy me, but when I hear things that completely contradict things that I've got mentally slotted in files in my brain, It's just like, yeah, you're trying to, it's so much more transparent how said people or certain websites aren't doing their research. And this is what we're getting into right now. It's just like Warner Brothers aren't happy, or they want to do reshoots and they want to control all of this stuff. And they're not only unhappy that it's dark, but the fact that Bruce Wayne is gonna, by the way, yet again, this might not be true, even though they're exploring mental health. And I know that for a fact because it's come out of freaking Matt Reeves' mouth himself when he cited Darwin Cook's Batman Ego, something I've gone over, and that whole story is literally about exploring the psychology of Bruce Wayne, which is, you know, even more to the truth, so funny that these rumors are even coming out about how Warner Brothers aren't happy with a vision and a story beat where Bruce, they're exploring the mental health of the film, and they don't like that. That would have been pitched to them so long ago. So it's just like, why is this just coming out now? I think it's absolutely hilarious. People are trying to sell to people online that Warner Brothers hates the movie because it's dark. Number one, I guess, you know, I could say here, the Batman movie is going to be dark. B, this was all pitched and the creative ideas and everything from Matt Reeves was very much so on the table. How do I know that? How do I know this? How do I, and because I get, and I can respect some people be like, hey man, you know what Warner Brothers are like. Jesus, like with sometimes they might, or from what we've heard, they've tried to not only have their cake but eat it as well in terms of creative vision and not letting a certain director or two have their vision. So I get what the people are saying there. So why isn't it the same for the Batman? Maybe that's a believable part to all of these rumors about how they don't like what Reeves has done with this finished product, which is another statement that doesn't make sense because it's not a finished product. Let me just say something, or let someone else say something for me. Because this is Reeves' vision, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, it's been more or less his way or the highway. And he made goddamn sure of that. He likes and has liked the idea of doing the Batman and the franchise kind of thing like that, but never has he needed to at the same time unless it's on his terms. The following clip I've spoken about on this channel before, but I'm just going to play a very small segment of it. I'm going to completely credit it on screen and off screen or whatever. It's from the Business Podcast with Kim Masters. It's a very small segment I want to take from that and show you guys so you can understand the context of what we're talking about in today's video. Go check out the whole full thing for yourself, but this tiny little clip and segment of it is very relevant to what we're speaking about, so I'll give it off to Matt Reeves and then revisit this right after.
Lawyers, but they've had their woes and they finally managed to put one that was in the sweet spot. And
Sure.
I don't know, is that something that was discussed candidly where you said, look, you know, you've got to let me and do mine?
Yeah, I said, listen, if you want someone who's coming in from this perspective, because here's the thing, I'm also totally fine not doing Batman. It's not like I want to do any version of Batman. I want to do my version of Batman. And if that's exciting to them, which so far everything we've talked about is, then that's incredibly exciting because it means, wow, we're going to do something that we're all excited about. And if they're not, it's completely their prerogative, right? This is their franchise. They own the characters. They're going to spend a tremendous amount of money. So
Fair enough.
I'm not asking anybody to do what they don't want to do. All I'm saying is if we want to do the same thing, great. And if we don't, that's also okay. And so that's kind of how I started it.
You actually fell out for half a second.
I did. Yeah, I did. And I have to say that it's only just beginning. I mean, literally.
Before anyone says it, that is a clip that is a few years old now. Now, I've made a video, I believe I even spoke about some of the 2017 stuff in my last video about how obviously after Ben Affleck went out, it became a whole different thing and Matt Reeves was basically following the pursuit of what he wanted to do. Now, what you just heard there, just in case anyone wasn't paying too much attention, is that Matt Reeves made it very firm and very secure that he laid down the groundwork to Warner Brothers, and he even teased like, well, so there's a little bit of falling out there kind of thing at the end. It's like, he was basically saying, if I'm going to do this movie, I don't have to do it. I can do other things, but I'm very interested in doing the Batman. But like at the end of the day, you know, and he gives credit to studios as well as to why they might, you know, it's their prerogative, it's their characters, and if they don't want to do it his way, that's absolutely fine. He doesn't have to touch it. But if we are going to do it my way, it's going to be my way. But the reason why that's so important is because it stands true today. They're not going to be all of a sudden like, hey, we, and they would have signed something, by the way, to make sure Matt Reeves had his complete creative oomph to that. So he didn't get, you know, the whole Snyder Justice League situation going on with that film and tonal shifts. And so when all of this is coming out the woodwork now, I know I'm articulating it weird, but I know you're with me here. all of these reports about Warner Brothers hates the movie. They hate the mental health aspect, which is just something that, Jesus Christ, Batman has struggled with forever, and they were happy with him to talk about it at DC Fandom, about the psychological aspect of his character, his ability to endure. He went and spitted, as I kept saying before, scripture about how it's very dark, it's very point of view driven, it's very psychological driven from this early on Bruce who's doing this criminological experiment. And now, present day, here we are. It's laughable to hear these articles come out, to hear certain content creators. I guess, look, even if they're in their own believed situation where they're taking that source's information for truth and they're like, oh my god, I just got a scoop that Warner Brothers really does hate it and they don't like the mental, then all I can say there is they believe their source, and that's funny because they shouldn't, because there is so much going against it. For example, the things we're talking about today. Going along that route, 2017 is when that was said, but he then literally signed a deal last year, very similar to what Pattinson recently did and what we spoke about in that video I was mentioning. 2020, Matt Reeves inked an overall deal with Warner Brothers Television Group to expand the Batverse. So, there was Gotham PD, and most recently, as of a month ago, we learned of the new animated series, The Caped Crusader, which is exploring some of Batman's psychological roots, which isn't, I don't want to misconstrue this. Matt Reeves didn't invent psychological Batman. I'm just saying Warner Brothers are very aware of what Reeves' vision is. And he made that very clear. He's not stupid from the get-go how he wanted to do this. So it's not going to change. I'm telling you, and I'll hold my hands up if I'm wrong. But I almost feel so embarrassed to say that, because I have every ounce of the fiber of my being with hopefully what I'm articulating here with context and history of why this is okay and why you shouldn't believe it and why you should be reassured after watching this video that those rumors are absolutely bullshit, and just the context I've explained of why things like this tend to happen. Well, article right, let's write some dramatic piece about the Batman, or let's say something here, and you get it, guys. You understand that, well, at least hopefully now you do a little bit more. That thing, just because, as I said in my previous video, there's a story doesn't mean that is the story. And I think it's almost like a snowball, the momentum analogy. And the more it goes down the hill, the more snow it picks up. When the Batman first had those rumors come out, it is such a popular movie and trilogy ahead, with the castings, just everything. Is a Batman casting going to be popular? Oh, it's Pattinson. Oh, we all hate him, but oh, no, we don't. Oh, is he going to get ripped for the role? And he isn't training. Think about it. This is goldmine for clicks and engagement. That's the way it's going. But let me just make it even more funnier. So the claims of Warner Brothers worrying it would be a bit too dark and stuff. Can I just remind you of the success of an insanely dark take of Joker? Why the heck are we debating about something which we know Matt Reeves has articulated? He's having his own creative control of this movie. Plus, they loved the ideas he had on board back then, which, yes, I know that was at the infancy of his movie being made, but even since then at DC Fandom, he was more than happy to talk about that same vision. So that DC Fandom wasn't too long ago in recent history when I argue that he said too much about the movie. So, I'm pretty sure, they knew exactly what this director was going for and what he was making. It's just so laughable to think anything else. I get it. So this is the thing. If you don't do this like I do this, or you're not an avid fan and you just hear these stories, you think, oh man, and you roll your eyes. Everyone's guilty of that. It's like judging a book by its cover. These articles are designed for you to only really read the headline and then get that piqued interest and think, another thing about the Batman. By the way, just the whole Joker analogy, I think kind of almost cements it just a little bit more. That film could even be darker in a way than the Batman. Now, the Batman's going to be dark. It's going to be brutal. This is early Batman, year 2. His criminological experiment isn't working. There's so much we spoke about as to why it's going to be dark for Bruce. But that's also the character. It's so funny. It's the character. But then just look at what Joker and its darkness did for Warner Brothers and $1 billion+ profit. It's just, I know you could argue, and I know this would be somebody who says, but Batman might appeal to more people like you, but so does Joker. But Batman So maybe they're worried about it being too dark for that reason, and they want other people to go. No, trust me, it's very much cemented and solidified the vision. And I hope that I've kind of proved that to you by now with things that are said. But, you know, I mentioned in my last video as well, just some throwaway things like Jeffrey Wright acknowledged a fan who asked about it. I'm probably pulling the tweet up on screen right now. Read it. And he literally replied by rolling his eyes. Now, obviously, you don't want to acknowledge all of this BS coming out about your film. Some directors choose to, but most of them don't. But there's little subtle ways. And why? Because you don't want to give more attention to it. Even if you do, people still don't believe what you're saying. They think you're just defending it for defending's sake, and there is no drama behind the scenes. But there's little subtle ways that they've done it, like the Jeffrey Wright tweet, or one that I even failed to mention, that Matt Reeves decided to subtly hint to fans about through his own Twitter. So he doesn't tweet a lot, but last month he actually retweeted something. This is around a time where more and more rumors were coming out, which is why I made that video. They quoted, actually, Matt Reeves, saying, "He's such an incredible actor, what he's doing is going to blow people's minds." And that, yeah, just watch DC Fandom again if you want to hear Reeves, who's already filmed quite a bit of the movie at that point with Pattinson, gush over Pattinson. We're really going to see Rob kick ass this year, and yeah, he retweeted it, because that's his kind of way of telling people, like, you know, it's crying out loud. And I know that's not the best evidence in the world to use, but it's just like, add all of these things up. And then, like, there's another thing. There's this screenwriter, Mark Hughes, and he was just saying, by the way, like, he quoted this, we got this covered article saying Warner Brothers reportedly unhappy with the Batman, may delay it again. This isn't true at all, for your information, everyone. And it's just like, this is what I mean. So I feel bad. Like, this movie, at this point, there's no stopping it. It's one of those things, as I said, that's gained such momentum that just more and more things will keep coming out. More and more bigger creators who will have people reach out to them, or have 4chan things saying, well, I had this, and, you know, I don't know, me. And it's just not going to stop. If you want to take it from anyone, I know I'm not the most reputable person in the world, not for any particular reason. I guess I haven't blown up to such a big size where people take my words. And I almost can't, the funny thing is I can't promise you, it's not like I'm on the phone to Matt Reeves, but I hope you understand through my insight and understanding of what this film is and what's going on, conversations that have taken place, and just even understanding the nature of what goes into this. Certain other people who, you know, as I've spoken about before, hundreds of thousands of fans, it kind of elevates you up, or even millions of subscribers, to a situation of where people do take what you say as gospel. And then, like, think about it. Word of mouth gets round, articles keep getting posted. It's you know, if I just say this, it's not going to all of a sudden appease the internet. If I had 5 million subscribers, then maybe people would be like, oh, this person made a claim. And now all of a sudden everyone would believe my reassurances, but they're not. This is just to a small amount of people, I guess. But all I'm going to say is, don't believe it. Don't believe anything that you're reading with that stuff. Because there are things, and there are plenty of things, which I've pointed out in this, well, the part 1 video and part 2, which this is hopefully going to wrap it up. I'm not going to talk about it again. That go against it. So much so. I'm telling you, the Batman is going to be a very good movie. I'm very confident about that. And the vision is going to be one that is held very, very firmly to what Matt Reeves basically laid out, very firmly, to the point of where it's engraved in the freaking floor like runes. I don't know, the funny thing I realize when I say this stuff, it is kind of just my words against other people's claims or other articles' claims. But one thing I like to do, and what I like to say, is that I actually do some homework and stuff that I already know about, and fight that fire with not only fire, but like 1,000 fires, because those other 1,000 fires go against everything these claims are saying. And that should speak for itself. So, what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. This video was specifically made for those who messaged me about saying, Boba, why haven't you spoken about this, Boba? I know you might want to stay away from this, but is there any truth to this? I'm subscribed to this person, and, you know, they're actually maybe starting to make me think it's true, because why would there be so many stories? You know, and I get that. That's the tragic thing of all of this, and the most frustrating thing about all of this is that there's those people out there who are making lots of other people believe it. So So like this video. If you did enjoy it, I will be doing another Batman video soon, and I think it's going to be like a little discussion video on the Gotham PD series, which is something you guys wanted to hear, so keep an eye out, or post questions even in the comments below about that. If you got this far in the video as well, type down in the comments section to prove that you got this far. Something that I hope really like echoes out. Hashtag don't believe the Batman rumors. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Bat Family in the next video. Goodbye.